Merrick,
And I'm Classic Gamer.
and welcome back to we finally have a name for it, the Narwhal and Classics Post Play Podcast, where we give our varying thoughts on video games we have both Let's Played. Not necessarily recently or at the same time, just games we both played.
Yes.
So today we're going to be doing a little game based on a little film some of you may remember, and I'm going to have to explain specifically which one it is The Mummy. Because there are three films called The Mummy.
hmm
We're talking about the Brendan Fraser one from the late '90s today.
Yes, which is a remake of the black and white 50, 30, 35, is it? Or 55?
I'm looking it up. Oh, the one with Boris Karloff from
Yeah.
2017. No, that's the new one. That's the one I didn't quite like. It's the 1932.
Wow.
Oh, and there's another one in 1959, of course,
Oh, so there's actually.
because there's in 32 with Boris Karloff. Then you're thinking of the Hammer films, The Mummy, with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. And then there was the 1999 one, then the 19, and then the 2017 one.
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, but this one is on the one starring Benson Fraser.
Brendan Fraser
Yeah,
from 1999.
I can't get the name right. And made by Konami, which is very unusual.
I'm just going to give a quick rundown of the plot of the movie. At an archaeological dig in the ancient city of Hamunaptra, an American serving in the French Foreign Legion accidentally awakens a mummy who begins to wreak havoc as he searches for the reincarnation of his long lost love. It is an act. It has bits of the romance story from the original movie. It is mainly an action adventure film. Got some cool, sort of not quite gory, but some cool horror visuals with Imhotep himself and the scarabs and his mummy warrior servants. It is quite the fun film, and we'll see how it translates to video game form
Yeah,
too.
I do like the film. The film is one of my favourites, I'd say. I watch it and enjoy it when I do skim through it, and I like Imhotep the character. I think some of the favourite scenes, if I had to pick ones, probably when he kills all the Americans and he extracts all their organs and vitals.
Yeah,
Which
killing them one by one.
yeah, which the first guy is the guy with the glasses, and he takes his tongue and eyes, and then finishes him off.
Prince Imhotep thanks you for your hospitality
And
and
your
for your
eyes
eyes
and your
and
tongue.
your tongue, but he
Please
needs
no.
more. Oh. um, we got Brendan Fraser obviously as Rick O'Connell. We got Rachel Weisz as Evelyn Carnahan. We got John Hanna as Jonathan. Arnold Vosloo of Darkman 2 fame as Imhotep. Kevin J. O'Connor as Benny Gabor. And of course, as probably the best character, Oded Fair as Ardith Bey.
Yes,
He is the Medjai warrior.
yes, the leader of the Magi and the ones that watch over Haminatra and the creature.
Very badly.
Yes, like that they watch Rick stumble out from Haminatra in the opening kind of section of the
Let
game.
the desert will claim him. No, kill him.
Well, yeah. So but the game starts with you
With them having already arrived at Hamunaptra.
yeah, and you hear a big roar, which is Imhotep, and I think that's probably when it's just after you read the Book of the Dead.
Yep.
Am you Ra, Am you Day. Um, I don't know the rest of it.
No harm ever came from reading a book.
Yeah, yep, yep.
So
And
they,
they Rick is not voiced by no one's voiced in this game by the original.
well, no, of course not. This is before they really started doing this. It's just a PS1 title.
Well, didn't they do? Isn't Benny the same character? The same.
Possibly, I don't know.
I think he might be because he does sound the same. Um, maybe it's just a good impression. I don't know. But you're looking it up.
I am looking it up on my IMDb right now. There's a parody with Kirsten Dunst.
Ah,
Weird, weird. Cannot find the game on IMDb.
oh. Well, it's not to worry. But the game starts with you having to find some tablets. So you go into, well, on your own, you go into Haminatra and you wander through the halls, killing grave robbers and killing mummies.
It, the grave robbers actually, I've never felt a less fair fight because you run in there with a pair of revolvers and they have pickaxes. It's like okay, I'm. Oh, you're gonna okay, bang. It's like the like the whole game with these guys is the Cairo swordsman from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then Indy just shoots him.
Yeah, yeah. He just like I can't be asked with this. Well, apparently that scene he showed up drunk or hungover to the film set.
There are two stories. There's either he is hungover or he has hemorrhoids. But either way, he um he couldn't be arsed doing the choreography that day, so he just shot him.
And they kept it in, which was actually very. I think it was probably the best thing they could have done because it just shows that you don't bring a whip or a knife to a gunfight.
No, but
But so
technically, it was a sword fight. He just brought a gun to the sword fight.
yeah, well, it's a similar thing. You don't bring a knife, you don't bring a gun to a knife fight or a sword fight.
Well, no,
But
you bring a gun to a knife fight because then you just win.
yeah,
You're cheating, but you're winning.
yeah, you are cheating. But in this first section, you have to find three tablets, which then opens
Three tablets plus any other treasure you can find.
and as you find the treasure, you gain lives and other bits and pieces towards
You find
your.
little to get a new life. You find the three little triangle like a button not three like six or eight little gold triangles that make the key that opens the Book of the Dead and Imhotep's sarcophagus.
Yeah,
You make that to get a new life. You collect also various treasures to up your score.
yep.
Um, Various weapons. Like I remember there's a rifle, there's a machete. You have a torch right off the bat that you can use to light up tablets or set enemies on fire.
Oh yeah, the way that you get new lives is to set the or restore health is to light the panels on the wall that
Yeah.
give you an extra life, and you have to set a certain amount of that in order to get the life. But the game
There
starts
are
off.
death traps everywhere. You also get a machine gun way later. You get the big cool aircraft machine gun
Yeah,
from later in
yeah
the
the one
movie.
that Ardif has that you never get, but yeah. Um,
You
well,
also have a golden sword way near the end, which is probably the only effective weapon against the undead.
yeah, the enemies get more advanced later on, but the first part, the game starts off well in my mind, and I heard you saying I've been watching your Let's Play recently, and the game starts with um, the atmosphere. I think that is really good. You did touch on that, and it is a good atmosphere. It actually has the sounds from the music from the film, like the music from the film, which is really nice and cool to hear.
And very little music, fittingly,
Yeah,
for when you're in the tombs themselves.
yeah, I mean the music comes on. I think when they put the music on, it's timed really well. It comes on like and it's really atmospheric bit, but it's like a very slow, methodical sort of like low sound, and then suddenly it will like to start really loudly in this like big dramatic way, which I think adds to the atmosphere and the sort of like the the way that you'll feel entrapped. Like you feel you're in this tomb on your own. You're against an enemy that is pretty much who is indestructible at this point. And it gives you a sense of the fact that you are the underdog. I'd say.
You very much are pretty much to the entire game. And like you explore, you collect treasures, you avoid traps because there are a lot of traps,
Hmm.
and don't question how you can find ammunition in the ancient tombs. You just can, just accept it.
Yeah, I actually commented on your video, and
Yeah,
I said,
I did.
how are these how is this? I saw your reply. I said, how is the ammo? And you said it's probably from other grey people who've been here before or something like that. I was like, okay, but the thing is that door that you went through to get in this bit
Don't
initially was
don't don't
w-
think don't
was
think about it. Just don't
yeah.
think about it.
I put it down to game logic.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going into game logic, how does reloading a save work? Like, except in I guess like Bioshock, which handles that extremely well actually.
Yes,
But that's
I'd
another
say that
story.
as well.
The most of the levels are pretty much the same thing.
Mhm.
You go in, explore the levels, fight the mummies, fight the grave robbers, get new weapons, find more treasures. The main thing you're looking for is different each time, but it's just more levels getting more complicated, getting bigger, getting more platforming in it, getting stronger enemies.
Yeah, the enemies do improve. Some of them have like they they come to you at twos. First of all, it's just like one or two mummies, which are easy to deal with. You can use the sword or the machete or whatever you've got there to actually defeat them or set them on fire. But largely, they
You
get
can shoot them, but you will take them down eventually,
it's a waste of
but you
ammo to
will
shoot them.
just keep your bullets for grave robbers, which will stop coming eventually, or the fucking bugs
Yeah,
and
and
bosses, obviously,
there's
because there you've
also
got a pretty handful of bosses.
yeah, there's also the point of each area before you go in has a hub. So you go back to the area after you get a certain item, and the first hub is like the outside bit or what near that sort of area where like you wander around and then you open different doors and you go in three separate areas to get each individual tablet from the first bit, and then the second hub, which we'll get to later on, is obviously inside Hamanatra itself, and I think you then have one more before the end. Oh no, the second hub is the rest of the game, I believe. Maybe. I can't.
Most of the plot is almost entirely excised from the game. This is one of those. This is not like X-Men Origins Wolverine or like the Fellowship of the Ring game, which is assuming that you can get the plot if you haven't seen the movie. This is one of those ones that it assumes you've seen the film,
Yes,
like
I'd say
Return of
that.
the King or Two Towers. If you'll have fun if you haven't seen the movie, obviously, but you won't have any idea what's going on in
Yeah,
this game,
I
which
think.
is it's fine. I mean, I've seen the movie, but
I mean, I think this game it tries its best to kind of like take a film that I'd say is beloved um and is enjoyable to watch and it is a good action
it
film to.
has its fans, but it also has its critics.
Yes, and I think the
I
critics.
fall under the fans. I quite love it. I quite like this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most criticised things I would say is the fact they changed actors of Evelyn on the
Oh
third
yeah,
one. Um,
I don't
the
like the third one.
the new lady does what she can to kind of like keep that, but she doesn't have the kind of like silliness of Evelyn. The kind of like the in the first film she's kind of like this bookkeeper and she has an accident and knocks all the bookshelves over and her
Oh,
boss
I hate that scene. I
yeah I
hate
mean
that scene. I
it
can't watch
but
that scene.
she's got this wittiness to her, this obviously this typical Brit that is just like clumsy and a bit what's the word a bit kind of like not really with it, but she matures during the film. um the second film she definitely matures, and then she just turns into this like overbearing kind of like badass for the third film, which
the
I
The
don't
third
really
one,
like.
she was the actor change wasn't really my issue. My issue was one, why is Alex no longer British? For one, so I know like accents can change as you grow older, but you don't go from speaking like this when you're 10 to having like to being Nathan Drake when you're an adult. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
There'd at least be some. It wouldn't probably be like as thick if you spent most, like your formative years in the states, but
No,
there'd be
yeah,
some remnant of the accent left.
yeah. No, I definitely would say that. I never thought about that actually, but
And I didn't like the change to China.
yeah. I mean, the thing is,
Like,
they had to make something else because obviously the thing is in that.
but it's not mummies anymore. The Chinese didn't have mummies.
No, they didn't. But
Go to
what
freaking
the
like
thing about
Aztecs or something.
the end of Mummy 2 is when Rick is saved, when he's hanging off the edge. Spoilers
Yeah,
for the second film. I will
Imhotep's gone. I'm not expecting Imhotep back.
and um his love, Noxman Moon, doesn't save him. She runs away because she's terrified, and then he
Yeah.
just looks at Rick, smiles, and then lets himself go. What I think would have been cool is if he had come back and he had actually helped Rick. Maybe. I thought that I think that might have made maybe an interesting kind of thing to think
A good,
about.
you know what a good finale also would have been?
What?
We've dealt with the Scorpion King. We've dealt with the army of Anubis. Anubis himself.
Yeah,
That would have been cool.
yeah,
But that's we're not talking about the second. We're talking about the first movie.
yeah. But the game starts off where like it's not too rage infuriating. We'll get to that in just a minute. But both of us had a
The
fun time.
only really critique I can give to the whole of the gameplay is, and I am understanding that it is 1999 this game was made. It's a PS1 game. I'm not expecting a lot. Like I'm not going to criticize the graphics. I'm not an asshole. But is the camera is free? It's two problems with it with the camera. One, it's like way too close to the character,
Yes.
so you fill almost the entire screen, and it is claustrophobic. If that's what they're going for, fine, but it's not ideal when you have to do platforming
Yeah. I mean
or dodge traps.
the thing
It's
about
very
the
tight.
camera for me is the fact that it's an attempt at doing the over the shoulder concept of a camera, but done badly. I mean, if you look at a game that does that well, look at Resident Evil 4. That adapted that camera, over the shoulder camera, and doing it right. It's over the like one of the left, I think Leon's left shoulder in that game. You can see what's in front of you. You do have to turn, but the camera does turn with you. The other camera
Problem
that
is, we're completely centered
The other camera
in Mummy.
that some people don't like about Resident Evil is like the old camera system where it's fixed
Which
camera
I would have
angles.
preferred for this game, I think.
Yeah, fixed camera angles probably would be not a bad thing. Um, the way they transitioned to over the shoulder eventually with Capcom for Resident Evil was they did like a camera that followed you, so it was still fixed, but it was like a rail. So if you played Code Veronica, where you're running along a corridor, the camera will pan behind you, but at a distance. But it didn't feel it was right in your face. That I don't like sometimes the way games rotate cameras where I had that the other day where I was playing a game and the camera was not being my friend. I was like, camera, can't see, cannot see. And I think I was going through something. I just couldn't see what was on the other side, and I think I almost ran into some trouble. But what game was it? I can't remember now off the top of my
Like
head.
my suggestions to really help the game are: one, don't start at Hamanoptera.
No, I would say
Start at the beginnings. Definitely start at the beginning. Like the Foreign Legion charge at the beginning of the movie, the boat attack, the camel chase. These are all stuff that would have been like really fun to play,
yeah,
but just don't make it in.
and also protecting maybe having a change of characters. So you have to protect when you protect Evelyn, and that the Americans are left, and one goes downstairs and one is stayed upstairs. Like you play as him, and you have to fight off Imhotep, but then in the end he overpowers you. But you defeat him, but then he still kills you, which would still follow the film, but would add a certain flair. So some games, what they do to certain parts of a film is they might extend that part of the film, and then it ends in the same way that the film went about,
Like
or they'll just
as bad as this game I'm going to bring up as an example is the Phantom Menace. It did have like most of the game you play as generally Obi Wan or Qui Gon, but for certain levels, like it'll swap you to Captain Panaka.
Yeah,
or to Padme.
I
Or
didn't
for
mind
just
that so much.
it sucks because you've lost all your Jedi powers, but
Yeah, but the other thing as well is I think it breaks the cycle in that mold. It kind of like puts a barrier in the fact that you're not this person who, even though Padme is essentially she is strong in the Force, but she never learns anything.
no, no, she isn't. That's Leia you're thinking of.
Well, Luke says the Force is strong, so the Force is strong with all of them. Padme to Anakin to all of
I
them.
think I think he means specifically the Skywalkers because she's. I don't think she has the Force.
Well, okay, then yeah. Well, she's certainly strong in. She's a strong-headed
I mean, it's
woman.
possible to be a badass without having the Force, like Han, Lando, the Mandalorian, or Boba Fett. These are badasses.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
don't have the Force.
I do like. I haven't seen The Mandalorian. Gonna have to watch that.
Highly recommended.
Yeah, I know a certain character uh, appears at the end of season 2, but I won't say who.
Of course.
But on this game, like you go through and then you get the three pieces of the tablet, and eventually you open the door, and then you do another. I think it's another level, or you go into the gold room with the mirrors, which is a
Yeah, that's
very
quite fun.
yeah, and
I found it a little bit disappointing because I love light reflecting puzzles, and you didn't get to, and there is no light. There's not a lot of puzzles in the game, shockingly.
yeah. Well, I think puzzles you need to do them right, and if you're bad at doing puzzles, don't do them.
I think
Um,
a straight up Tomb Raider clone also would have worked better for this.
Tomb Raider is like I think I was watching one of your videos the other day, and you said that because of the films you wouldn't play the Tomb Raider games, but I would highly recommend the rebooted series. Rise of the Tomb Raider is definitely the best out of those three.
Well, what I said wasn't that I'm not going to play the Tomb Raider games because of the movies. I'm saying it was back when I was only doing based on stuff. I've like slackened that a bit, like to be based on genres,
Mm.
but that I'm saying that I'm not going to do them because the movie it's not based on because the games aren't based on the movies. The movies are based on the games, and that doesn't count for me. That's what I was saying. It was nothing like
Oh no, no,
yeah,
no,
the
yeah,
movies
yeah.
suck, but that's not going to keep me from playing
I
the
haven't
game.
watched the new movie. I
It's
haven't
not
watched.
good.
It's not good. Oh, that's
It's
a
not
shame.
good.
I started watching it with my ex-partner, and then we both fell asleep. But no, the games of Tomb Raider probably would have. But I don't want games that kind of like clone Tomb Raider to the point where they don't make them, they don't stand out from the crowd. So a good example of a game that stands out from Tomb Raider is Uncharted. If you look at
Mm-hmm.
Uncharted and Tomb Raider, they are very similar. But the first games of Tomb Raider, like the first series on PS1, they start off like I've watched reviews on a channel called Darkness to Curse, um, and what he says is that Lara on the first game is front and center on the cover, so she's the center of it. She's the main person that you play as. That they put her as the icon of this game. And back in those days, there weren't a lot of games that really put female characters as their centerpiece, as being we're having a female role as a lead role that and she's about badass. It was mostly like Duke Nukem was a male, but the games have improved since then. But when they did the Anniversary and Legend and Underworld and those games, they did take elements from Uncharted. The jump, the climbing along the cliffs are very similar to those games. In fact, almost uh, taken from the games. But this game would have, I think, it may have benefited from that. But I think Rick is not kind of like this one that can like do like mid-air somersaults and that kind of thing. And
Doesn't stop them from making him do it in this game.
no, but he doesn't really like. If you watch him when he fights Imhotep in the film, he's overpowered. Like I think my favorite bit in that fight is when he rises his servants and he goes kill them, and then he screams at them and they just scream back, and he's like and he's like no, not got a chance. But when they get to the
If
goal,
there was a way to incorporate the scream as an ability, that would have been cool.
yeah, I mean, I think it was like he's just like he doesn't want to mess with them. But in when he gets to the when they get to the light room with the mirrors, um, that you're made to go and get the three mirrors that then do the let there be light trick from the film, which they show off. And this is where you get to. Well, this is where the game for me kind of goes from being a game that's enjoyable to a game that's absolutely probably really bad. Well, not really bad. That's not fair, but you're just not good.
Hmm.
And it's where you have to confront Benny.
Oh God, yeah.
I knew we'd get to this bit eventually, and it starts off fairly okay until you get to a log rafting level, which had us
Well,
both.
first against Benny, there's the Benny scene is it goes side scroller,
Mhm.
and you have to dodge all his traps, which do a hefty amount of damage, chasing him down before he can finally end him.
I think
But
the log one's before that, isn't it?
I think it might be. I think you're right.
Yeah, it is before that. And the log level isn't bad. It's not hard to control it. It's just they've got a lot of obstacles in the way. The turns are rather um not you don't really expect them, and they have like one bit that that had you really almost breaking is when
Mm.
you couldn't get out the path of that goddamn rock. And I think you save stated just before, and you just got yourself in a loop that couldn't get round. And for me,
I think that was the moment I put cheats on the game.
no, you put the
Also,
cheats. You put the cheats on the game when you were doing the Benny bit.
yeah.
And even though like the log flying bit is alright, I would accept it if you do it once, but you do it twice. I think from
Yeah.
memory, and I I think I managed to do it without. I don't think I died very many times because I had watched yours already, so I was expecting it. So I knew what was coming, but it still was to
It was
play.
actually the first Let's Play of yours that I watched was the Mummy one. I think
Was it? Oh,
that's
well,
how I discovered you. Was that Let's Play?
when did I do the mummy? I can't remember when I did that.
It was like 2, 3 years back, maybe even 4 years back.
I thought we were talking for longer than that. That's how much. That's how much I'm. Hello, cat. But no. So you go through this log level. You eventually get to where like Benny's like taunting you, like at this point you're chasing him down through like even why I don't know why there is a part of Hamanatra that has a river and a log where you have to navigate like
That's it's dumb.
like I mean if that was in the film it probably would have not been a bad thing to do because it might have actually been a good action bit. They have done good things like that in films before and it's worked. But then you eventually get through that bit and then you for some reason the game goes to a 2D or 3D side scroller platformer, and
Mm.
this is where I think you broke again because
Yeah,
they not only does it have barrels that run at you, which if you jump too high, and then by the time you've landed, the next barrel is going to come and knock you down. If you get hit by the barrel, you die instantly. And then when you get over the first bit, you get a life, providing you don't lose all your lives in the first section. And they're not too long, but they're long enough for the fact that it will take you a few attempts. And unless you're very you played side scrollers and you're used to that thing, so you expect a lot of the traps and the tricks, um, then it's going to catch you out. And the bit that caught you out, and I don't think it caught me out because I think I was prepared. I don't know if I used cheats by this point. I may have done, but it was the fact that there was a rolling barrel and then there was fire going out from the floor that reached the bloody ceiling, and you just couldn't get past this bit, and I think you broke more than once during this section.
that is
Um,
most likely. That is
yeah,
most likely.
and the thing that I noticed that when you're get your thing and you're like right, this is just you you had lost the will to live. I think at this point it's just like right, the cheats are coming out. I'm not gonna fuck with
Yeah.
you this time, game. You dropped I think every swear word you could at this point, and then when you put cheats on, it was just like you were just like the barrels just rolling through your body, which was hilarious.
I still would like to commend myself in terms of the swearing. For I, as much as I curse, I will never go racist or homophobic with my curses. So that no matter how angry I get, it will not go into the what I consider the big no
Yeah,
zone.
yeah, no, no, you never,
That's just too
you
much.
you never do that. I mean, the only word that I don't use, and I don't particularly like, is the cunt word. I don't use that word. I never use it. Yesterday on the forest when we kept dying, I was on the verge of saying it, but I was just like ball to sack, balls, and
I'll say it occasionally. Sometimes I'll use it as an adjective.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
but
but add ing to the end of it. Just I don't know.
but yeah, but no, like I've not, to be honest, I've not heard it used a lot. It's only when you rage I tend to hear it, but normally it's fine.
I've gotten better at that actually in recent years. I've chilled out a lot in my old age.
Yeah, I think like the thing I think you've got to try and remember, especially in a bit where you rage, is you just got to sometimes take a step back and just breathe. So when I've had a game that I can't do or I can't do a bit, I've stopped the recording, I've calmed down, I was like, right, I know I can do this. I'm a good gamer. I can do it. I just have to be patient and work at it and take my time. Sometimes your time.
I get a cup of tea. I sit down with the cat. I pet the cat. I just relax, and then I go back to it.
hmm Like something I learned in my younger years, I did a course at college called the Prince's Trust. And basically, it was set up by Prince Charles, and it's a 12-week course where everything's fast tracked. And in that, I learned something very important, and I'm going to pass this lesson that I learned on to you because it's a very important lesson. Is
And to you, the viewers, as well, obviously,
yes, and to the
listeners.
viewer as well, and to everyone watching, and to you as well, Merrick. And the thing that the lesson is that when you have a situation, no matter what it is in life, take a step back and looking at it from outside the box. Imagine you're looking at it from up above or outside the room. Put it into a room and step outside the walls and look at it from that point of view. And you've got to see things as they are. And sometimes when you do that, you can then do something that you are trying to do. So, another thing that I also would teach everyone, the viewers and you as well, mate, is if you believe you will achieve. So if you believe you can do something, keep trying and you will do it. And when you do that thing you're trying to do, when you do succeed, it feels amazing to actually succeed at doing it because you've achieved something great. Like one thing that I was working at very hard, I know the viewers and you helped a lot and kept me sane during it because it was very tough, especially with recent months of mental health and stuff like that. Is getting affiliate on Twitch, and I tried
Yes.
very much to.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yes, thank you. And
Check out his Twitch channel, by the way. There's a link in the description below.
yes, thank you for that, guys. Please follow me. It will mean that you can then get notified when I go live. Um, and
If you do watch one of the streams, any of the streams, though, important, don't be a dick, don't be a troll. I'm one of the mods, and I don't negotiate. I just
yeah,
ban.
I've got
I'm called the Hammer for a reason.
yeah.
I'm not. I'm not
Um,
called the Hammer. Nobody calls me that. Don't
I
call me that. It's weird.
the thing that also as well, if you do decide to troll, or you're just not trolling, but you're kind of like given the vibes that you will, um, I am asked privately if I want you to go. I am fair at giving people a chance, but I have my limits. But I've also said that when it comes to certain situations, that if my mods decide something, what they say goes, and in the stream, what I say and what my mods say is what is going to be done. And if you don't want to follow the rules, then that's fine. But then you can't watch the stream, unfortunately. I welcome everyone, and I want everyone. I want to get to 100 followers. So if you can help me do that, that's great. But come in, chill out, and have a good time. If you get talking and Merrick is in there, that you have a conversation, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about as long as you don't touch on politics and things that are in the rules. Politics
Yeah,
is a
just read the rules.
yeah, read the
Read
rules.
the rules, follow the rules.
Yeah, read the rules, follow the rules, and just be cool and have fun. And we're all here to have fun. I do this because I enjoy it. I do it because I want to give you guys a good content. And getting the affiliate was a real tough slog. And when I eventually succeeded, it was great. But getting back to the
Getting back after Benny,
yeah
there
after
is a boss. There's a boss fight.
oh, let's talk about the way Benny dies first.
Okay, you can talk about how he dies.
Okay, so when you eventually do this 2D side scroller, Benny's like,
Also, another level that should have been in the game.
yes. So,
The aeroplane
oh,
chase with the sand wall. Where was that?
I know it disappeared because
I can just see. I can just
in
imagine it like like a Crash Bandicoot chase level where you're the plane in like and just dodging shit coming out of the sand face.
I
Like
mean the
that
thing
would have been so fun.
the thing about this
Potentially infuriating.
yeah, I can imagine it. The thing about this game is that in the film, there's a break in when you go to Hamanatra. You go back to Caro, and then you go back to Hamanatra when Evie goes back with Imhotep and Benny. This is after he regenerates fully, and the curator of the museum is secretly a magi, which is why he burns the map in the film to stop you from going.
Well,
Uh,
and is it worth killing people to stop the creature? Yes.
yeah, and Imhotep basically sets the whole city against you with the boils and the thing, and because you become like
That's
zombies.
a level that would have been like in Cairo with
Yeah, like
the
I
rest
would.
people.
Yeah, there is a level like that in
That's a
Mummy.
bonus mission.
A
There's a
bonus.
bonus mission as well in the Mummy PS1 of that, but it should have been in the game.
Is there? What's the bonus? What is the bonus missions in this
There's a
game?
Cairo bonus level, which is kind of like that.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But so when you eventually Imhotep appears, takes the Book of the Dead, and then Benny's like, "But Master, what about me?" And then Rick comes up, and Benny's like, "Please, my friend, please," begging for his life. A typical villain turn, sort of like,
Hey, O'Connell!
"Yeah,
Looks
you're
like
my."
I am on the horses! Hey, Benny, looks like you're on the wrong side of the river!
So, and then Benny, all Rick does, he doesn't say anything. He just punches Benny in the face, and Benny falls off the cliff, and you just hear him scream and land at the bottom. And
I
then he
found
just
that
goes,
satisfying. I found that
yeah,
very
that is satisfying. And then you just hear goodbye, Benny. But in the film,
Goodbye,
Benny has a much more satisfying death of the fact that you know what's going to happen when he gets greedy. He puts the bag on the heavy. Don't put bags if you go to an ancient temple anywhere in the world. Anything that sticks out the wall might be a lever that could bring the whole place down.
He
So
gets locked in the treasure room
one
with the
scarab
man-eating
appears on
beetles.
the thing. He angers the scarab, and suddenly all the scarabs surround him, and slowly but surely the torch
He's
starts
holding
to
him
go
off for
out,
a bit with a torch, but then the torch goes out.
and then you just hear him
And
scream.
yes,
Yeah. In this game, you just punch him and he falls down to his death, and then Rick just says the same thing when he's trying. To be fair to Rick, he does try to rescue Benny in the film. When the thing's coming down, he grabs his hand, and it's too late, and he's like, "Goodbye, Benny." And then it was like it goes on the fact that when Evelyn says to Benny, nasty little people like yourself always get the comeuppance, and he's like, "They do? Oh yes, always." And you just see Benny's face. It's just like, oh dear, kind of look.
I love the whole sound wall. I love the whole sand wall trick. It's beautiful.
But
There are
the,
two notable bosses I remember from the game, actually. One is interesting because it's kind of foreshadowing the Mummy Returns. is you fight a statue of Anubis.
I don't
Is
remember
one of the
that.
boss fights. There's an Anubis statue you fight, and then the other one is obviously Imhotep, who you have to use the sword after using the book.
Yes. Um, and but when you get to this treasure room where Benny dies in the film, um, Jonathan does his famous line. He's like, "Well, can we? Do you see? Yes. Can we just no?"
No,
Even though eventually they do come away with treasure, but we'll get
the
to that.
treasure room's one of the hubs I remember.
Yes, it is one of the hubs. And you have to go and find the mirrors. You do see Imhotep crock up a few times, and he just roars at you, sets some enemies,
Yes,
and then disappears.
very verbose gentleman is Arnold Vosloo.
Yeah, I didn't really know about the actor who played him. I just knew him as Imhotep, and then I think I searched him as just interest. And it's like the guy who plays Ralph. What's his name? The guy who plays Voldemort in Harry Potter, and he's very
Yeah, Ray
different.
Fiennes.
Yeah, and he's very different. If you look at him in 007 when he's M, he's very different and a very well known. I think probably one of the best actors that there is around at the moment. Um, but yeah, I think the mirror is when you get the mirrors, and then I don't really remember much more, but it's just basically the same thing, but there's with stronger enemies. So you've got like the ones with the shields and the spears, I think it is.
Yeah, the
I think
soldiers.
I think yeah, and
Got
then
the
you
big, the really big guys too.
yeah, I think it's the ones that Imhotep frees, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
Instead
and
of turning them on him and like cursing him with the book, you just kind of kill him with a sword.
oh, what you mean?
You,
Yeah,
in the boss when you fight him, he sand tornadoes a lot. That's one of his attacks.
yeah, I think you have to get to the center to free Evelyn, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually you get all the mirrors, and then you then get to the final boss, and it does take a little bit of working it out. It's not very obvious what you need to do. Um, Not overly obvious, I would say, and it and then obviously then you fight Imhotep, and the game then does its ending. But I don't really know what else to say about the game really. Um,
It's good for the time. Could have been a lot better.
hmm.
Surprisingly, it kind of goes downhill from here for the other games.
Well, I've been playing The Mummy Returns, and so far I'm enjoying it. The only thing I haven't enjoyed is when you're when you're doing the Cairo level, when you're looking for the gold coins. Um,
Oh my god, screw
like
that.
it
Like,
doesn't really explain to like all you do is wander around, kill dudes, and collect coins. That's it.
yeah.
You don't go in any buildings. You don't look in other buildings for Alex or anything like that. It's just literally. I didn't realise this. I actually attacked one of the stall vendors, and he ran away like a bitch. Um,
Okay, what would you do if you were working at a shop and some guy just came in and shot you? I'd run away. I don't get paid enough for that.
well, you'll see that in my Let's Play in October.
Yeah, we'll get to a review podcast on that further down the line.
Yeah. So for you, highlight of the game.
Highlight of the game, I think just the general environments of the levels and like the looking for treasures in the tombs just felt really fun.
Yeah,
Fun like adventure feel to it.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
did like that. Yeah, yeah.
I prefer the Indiana Jones games for that. Obviously, like Emperor's Tomb and Infernal Machine are objectively better games, but
Not played
still, it's
them
good
yet.
for what it is. It's good for what it is.
I haven't even played the Fate of Atlantis yet.
Fate of Atlantis is really good.
Yeah, I have seen it. I have started the first like I think I did watch someone's LP. It wasn't yours. It was someone else's. Highlight for me, I'd say I like the exploration. I like the environments and the music went together really well. I mean, Konami. are well known for atmosphere, like the first Silent Hill. The atmosphere in that game with the fog is.
Symphony of the Night.
I haven't played that one,
Oh, you have to. It's so good.
but the atmosphere is really really good. It's it's I don't think many people would like if I told everyone that this was a Konami game, they were like, really? I was like, yep, it's a Konami game. They might have
See,
been
not
the.
every Konami game is one of Konami's like original IP.
Is it is it is it?
They were a game
Are they the
studio. They
developers
get.
or are they the publisher? Thinking about it,
I think they're just the publisher. It's Konami.
I'll have a look quickly.
It's like a movie tie-in game just going to get farmed out to a studio. It's not necessarily going to be like a big. They're not all going to be the Arkham games.
Oh no, no, the developer. Hang on, the developer is Rebellion Development PC and Konami on P. Oh no, Re-
Rebellion
Rebellion
and the Warriors.
Development for PC and PS, and Konami on Game Boy Advance.
Okay, Konami only did the Game Boy Advance version.
And then the publisher is Konami. So I didn't realise that. So maybe the actual PC version is different.
The PC version is the PlayStation version.
That's really.
Trust me,
I
trust
don't.
me. I played it. It's the same game.
Oh, that's a
It's the
shame.
same game. It's just a lot harder to get running.
Yeah, yeah. I have. There are ways of getting old games running, but
But if it's already on PlayStation One, why bother? Right?
yeah, no, no. Of course, you got controls that are easy to. If you can emulate it, it's probably something it's worth doing. But yeah, I
It's
think
on the
the.
Dreamcast for like the four people who owned a Dreamcast.
Is it on Dreamcast?
Yeah, it's on Dreamcast.
I've not seen it. I've been getting some Dreamcast games from my Dreamcast emulator the last few days.
But the thing is, Dreamcast emulation is complicated, and unstable enough that if it's available on literally anything else as well, just play it on whatever else it's
Yeah,
available.
I have tried. Like, there's some games that I've got for Dreamcast that are not supported, but they're on these obviously on the sites where you can get ROMs and stuff. And also, just to make this clear to the viewers, don't ask us either. I would say I'll speak on behalf of us both here. Don't ask us where to get ROMs from. A simple Google search and you will find what you need. So, for example, a Google search would be PS1 ROMs or something like that. And there are many sites.
Well, technically ISOs.
Yeah, ISOs or ROMs or whichever ones you want to use. But um, you need to search and do a Google search.
It's not hard. You will find them really
You
easily,
will
but just
find them.
to avoid like implicating ourselves, just
Yeah, a simple Google search and you will find it. So for me, the lowest point of this, I'd say, is probably that log
fuck the
level.
log level. Fuck the
Um,
log level.
I know it's your low point. And I'd say a score for me. I think probably. I think I don't want to give it below 5. I think that's unfair because I think it is based on a decent film. I think a 6, maybe a 5.
I can do with a solid 6 for this one
I
because it
mean,
is because you also have to consider like with our critiques of it, it is from 1999.
yeah,
Like,
it,
can't be
it
too hard on a game that old, right?
yeah, it's like when people critique the first Metal Gear game and then say Metal Gear 5 is far better. Well, the thing is that Metal Gear Solid wasn't where the Metal Gear Solid where the Metal Gear Solid series started.
And I find that laugh. Oh, Metal Gear Solid 1 is Metal Gear Solid 5. So it's almost like 20 years of of advancements in game design
Well,
happened.
and the thing about Metal Gear Solid 1 is that Metal Gear Solid series is the series started in '87, so it actually started on the SNES and the NES, and then they were called
Oh,
Metal.
right, the one where it was.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, a rip off of that of Kyle. Like the art for the first one is just a production still from Terminator.
Yeah, so basically, they're on the original games that are like in the first game where you've got a big boss. or as your commander in chief as Snake, is the Outer Heaven, um, and that's called Metal Gear. And then there's Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which is in Zanzibar Land, which is why Zanzibar Land is mentioned in Metal Gear Solid 1, which people say is basically a remake of the first two games, but it's not. It's its own separate game. But that's where Kojima started the Metal Gear Solid series all the way back in '87, and they just celebrated their 20 something or 30 something anniversary this year. And then the first game is, it is, the graphics don't do it. It is, the reason why it's called Solid is because it went from a 2D game to a 3D solid, like 3D game, and it's got David Hayter as Solid Snake, the voice of Snake. He is the only one who can voice Snake. Keith Sunderland in Metal Gear 5 does a good job, and in Ground Zeroes does a good job. But what people have to remember is, if you ever ask me this, and you argue with me about this, I will say you this. So when you look at Metal Gear Solid, there's Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2 Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid, or Metal Gear Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 4. They are the Solid Snake era. The other games, so Snake Eater, Peace Walker, are Big Boss. Solid Snake and Big Boss are not the same character. Might be voiced by the same guy, but it's not the same character. Two very different timelines.
Owning, right?
So that's where people get confused. So that's a bit
I
of
think you know who I'd accept as a possible voice actor for Big Boss, aside from Kiefer Sutherland
who?
or David, Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I mean the thing is,
Because I mean, he's Snake plus like
yeah,
at least Big Boss in MGS5 with the brown hair and the scruff and the eye patch. That is Snake Plissken. If
yeah. Well, the reason why he's got an eye patch is because in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, it shows why he has a patch in the first place and why he becomes Big Boss. So the story of Metal Gear 3 is, if you do that series in order, the actual order is Metal Gear 3 first, then Peace Walker, then Ground Zeroes, then 5, then Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear Solid, and then Metal Gear Solid
but
4.
this has been enough time. Thank you for watching our podcast on the Mummy game. We got kind of carried away with Metal Gear Solid.
Yes, sorry about that.
And I've been Merrick D'Amato,
And I've been Classic Gamer.
and you can find us on both of our channels. Check links in the description below for the other person's channel, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Yes.
Ciao.
Ciao.